Hello. Thank you for being here again this week. Always a pleasure to have you here. And as consistent with where we are in the series that we've been running, we started the Made Simple series a couple of weeks back. You sure want to check on the past episodes. And where we started from was the Career Made Simple angle. And over the last couple of weeks, we've explored how do you choose, how do you prepare, and how do you switch. They were very high level to introduce us to what we're about to talk about, because this week now, I want to try and get into some of the specifics that you have to deal with if your current direction is the employment track. Remember that fundamental to all the things that we're talking about is the need for you to locate your purpose, from that purpose to create a vision, from that vision to envision it so that you can create a passion, and from there to come up with a plan so that you can wake up every day knowing exactly what you are trying to do and chiming away at it one step at a time, one note at a time. Now, this week, if the employment track is currently your track, which is the track that many people are currently on, I want to try and dwell on a few things that you can put at the back of your mind and can stand you out, help you position yourself better for the next opportunity that is going to walk down the line for you. And let me start from the point of curriculum vitae, or what we normally would call the CV, and writing an application letter. Most of the time now, employers no longer really ask you to write an application letter. But in the few instances where they do, what are those rules you do not want to break? And what are those principles you want to bear in mind as you do? Number one, you need to be clear as to the advertiser's instruction. As an example, who is the letter to be addressed to? Number two, what did the advert say about the subject of the letter? What you typically will find is that the advertiser will say, put this as the subject. Now, in your haste and in your excitement, if all you are doing is just a generic application letter and you miss out that subject, your chances of getting picked out get reduced. Do you know why? And unfortunately, that is where we are right now across the globe, particularly in this country. The demand and supply legs are not balanced at all. You see an ad that comes out, maybe maximum available position is 5 or 6, you have thousands of people applying for that job. If you are careless in complying with the instruction of the advertiser, nobody has the patience to be flipping the second page, flipping the third page, or even reading. Because how does it work? Maybe you do not know. When those ads are sent in, whether they are hard copies, which is getting very rare now, or they are soft copies, you either have softwares that does the sorting, or somebody sees that manually and is just looking at those thousands of emails with different subjects coming in. If he sees yours and there is no clarity as to what you are applying for, what will happen? Next. You can get passed over, even though you may turn out to be the best candidate. So, you need to comply with the advertiser's instruction around things like who to address it to, what should the subject be. But more interesting for me and for you is that your application letter should not be drabby, should not be non-communicative. When you are writing, it's not supposed to be 2 pages of application letter. I am this, I am that, I am this. It's supposed to be like a few lines that makes somebody look at your profile a second time. And that application letter must always speak to the position that you're applying for. And I'm speaking to this point particularly when you are going a few years from graduation, where you've done a bit of this, and a bit of that, and a bit of that, and then a job now comes that is for the role that you spent your last 2 years of your career running. That application letter should speak to the relevant part of your profile to the position that you're applying. Meaning, if you've worked, as an example, as an accountant, you worked in the cash office, you've worked as a receivable accountant, you've worked as a payable accountant, maybe you've worked as a reporting accountant. You now get a job that is speaking about how to handle cash, how to account for it, how to tally it, how to do all of that. Even though you have these other 3 experiences, your your application letter should speak to that relevant experience, so that when somebody says that I was a cash officer for UNICEF Nigeria between this time and this time, and my float was 2 billion naira, which I managed successfully without any shortage for 3 years. Imagine that as an application letter for somebody who's applying as a cash officer to a big organization. It is likely to be set aside, because when you talk about the selection process, it is in layers. The big bucket comes in, and then there is the initial sorting. Sort in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Then when it is sorted, the second layer of sorting, we get to look at it and say, okay, are we looking for age? Are we looking for years of experience? Are we looking for location? What are we looking for? That again gets sorted and sorted and sorted and sorted until you now have a pool. In fact, it's even still possible that that pool is too big for the amount of openings that exist in that organization. So when it comes to your application letter, it must be brief, it must be concise, it must be complete, and it must speak to the position that you're applying for. Always ensuring that you comply with whatever instruction the advertisers has put out with the advertisement. Oh, it's 7 minutes already and I gotta go. But as you can see that I've hinted, the next episode, I want to again take this kind of focus on how do you prepare your curriculum vitae so that you know what are the advertisers looking for, what is the employer looking for. So you are deliberate in preparing it. At least it gives you a shot at the job, and if you build this layer by layer, you are giving yourself a better chance of landing that job the next time you have an opportunity. I'll have to go now. T-Mac is still my name. Make it the date next week as we again take this a bit further down the line, all in a bit to ensure that you too very soon start to live your dream. All I'm trying to do as usual is what? Make a little difference. See you next week, and be sure to subscribe so that you can get the notification when the next video comes out. Bye.